That's what I'm talking about. I'm watching the same thing. I just started. I'm on like 50.
Only 1,000 episodes to go.
I read manga though. Yeah. Yeah.
See if a few more people join, then I'll get started. Market was moving good this week. Doot, 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 doot. Hey, whenever we go over stocks on voice, make sure you write down levels because we went over CrowdStrike in depth and CrowdStrike triggered and it dropped like 30, 40, like $30. So um I should have posted it in the watch list, but yeah, whenever we go over something on voice, towards the end, make sure you set those alerts because if you go look at CrowdStrike, it was right at that support level and it had a gap to fill. That's an obvious topping pattern is gonna drop over the next week. And that thing plummeted. And when it started dropping, what happened? They downgraded it. Like you can't make this shit up. It got downgraded today. So you know how that goes. CrowdStrike to the dumps. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So I had an amazing week. I didn't call one loser. Pepsi did wound up like ripping like 15 minutes after open. I called a put on it, a lotto put. But other than that, I did not lose this week. Um, so just another incredible week. It's kind of unbelievable, but hey, I'm rocking with it. Super happy with our progress and our consistency. And there are a few people that I talked to last week and I said, just take my plays, you know, and see what happens. And they actually followed me this week and they actually made money. So um, I'm proud of you guys for actually following me because that's the point of paying somebody. You're supposed to follow them, especially if they do well. So yeah, just keep taking my plays and let's keep winning. Monday, I called a trade on Meta. um, Basically, Meta held Friday's low, and I saw that in the morning. So I alerted calls, and Meta popped like $5 after we got in within like 30, 40 minutes. So that was a really nice trade to start off the week. And Bitcoin had a super strong weekend, right? So when Bitcoin is ripping over the weekend, like thousands and thousands of dollars, what are you going to watch on Monday for calls? Riot, Meta, MicroStrategy, Coin. So I posted Mara and Riot in my watch list, and I gave you guys targets, and they went crazy. They both went up 15%. Calls ran 200% in an hour. So Meta paid, and if you took my watch list plays on Mara or Riot, 200% on a Monday. We're talking 2,000% end of the week. So congrats if you got into Riot or Mara or Meta. All winners. The crypto plays, huge winners. Um, Tuesday, I had swung that little Pepsi play into Tuesday. I mean, I had two contracts. They hit 30% and it ripped up, but that's that. I got on voice on Tuesday, and I didn't direct signal any plays on Tuesday, but we were on voice, and I alerted Nvidia puts, Tesla puts, and Microsoft puts, and that was the day the market dropped. Had a really nice drop. So uh, I think somebody got in Tesla, but whatever. If you were on voice, when I'm on voice, I'm basically scanning my whole watch list and I'm just looking at the charts and I'm like, okay, Tesla below 250 has a gap to fill, price target 247. So if you ever hear me like talking about stuff like that, that's a play. And whenever it breaks, get in. So, Nvidia wound up dropping like $3 in a straight line right after triggering. Microsoft got clapped all week. Microsoft plummeted and Tesla had a really nice drop that day. So, like I said, I forgot to write it out, but if you were on voice and you caught any of those paid really nice. Um, Tuesday, I called a swing trade for Nike, and we made money on that Wednesday, and then I told you to put the stop loss at 72, and obviously, Nike popped today, so Nike's been on a really big downtrend, and I'm very patient. There's something called a 3-day rule, but with Nike, it was more than a 3-day rule. When it has bad news, you got to wait for it to consolidate for the pop up. So if I called Nike anytime the past 2 weeks, we would have lost. But I called it when it bottomed out. So Nike was a nice little trade. It hit like a little over 50% today. And obviously I called SMH for a trade. Um, I don't know. I don't know how I catch this news. I don't know how I do it, but ASML plummeted. It's a chip company. They provide the machines. They plummeted, so that helped. And Donald Trump said something about Taiwan Semiconductor, and that basically just took the whole market down. I wish it was a Thursday or Friday, but those puts opened at 200% and ran to 600%. So just a huge trade. It's funny because somebody wrote me in the chat. They're like, "You're not gonna cut it because SMH popped like $1.50." But I'm a swing trader. If I get in a position, I don't care if I'm down 30% before close. I'm swinging and I'm gonna be up. That's my theory. I'm always positive, and I think positive. So that's somebody being emotional, like, "Oh my God, I'm down." No, I'm not. I'm not gonna sell. I'm swinging this for tomorrow. So I'm very happy with our execution on that, and that news was crazy, like just absolutely insane. I think it dropped like 15. It went from 274 to like 250. Wow. So that was Wednesday, and then in the after hours yesterday at 4 o'clock, if you didn't know, you can buy ETF options 15 minutes after close, and I said keep alerts on in case I signal this play, and then I wound up signaling IWM puts. And I chose tomorrow's expiration for a reason, and I'll tell you why. So I knew IWM was going to drop within 2 days, and I knew there was a possibility that it could open red but shoot green because it's still strong. So it'll trick you. It'll open red, it'll shoot up because it is strong. It's been on a strong bull trend, but it was extremely overbought. IWM was the most overbought, I believe, in history. I read a report today. It was the most overbought in history. The RSI was like 93, like the 5-day moving RSI, extremely overbought. You just, you can't think about it. You just buy puts. And, like I said, I bought them for Friday because I knew we would have time to hold. So I'm gonna send you guys a graph of this put. They opened up like 30% and they went negative like 70%, but I held. And this contract is a screenshot of the contract I had, and the put option I had a 700% reversal. Now I go over this all the time. Contracts can move hundreds of percents in a day, right? This put was down, but I had strong conviction that IWM was going to go down in time, and we had enough time to let it happen. It had a bearish candle yesterday, and it was just time for a pullback. We had a pump fake this morning. The runners were down like 60, 70%, and that contract ripped 700% from the bottom to the top. So, as you guys know, I was spamming in the Spy QQQ channel that I posted it in, and um, that's how you short the top. You know, when the RSI is too high, super high, and something's too far away from the 9, it's gonna come back. That's just how the market works. So I was extremely happy with this trade. I was basically just chilling in it all day. Um, and yeah, that's why I don't panic. You know, I had time. If we had today's IWM puts, it would have looked really bad because we would have been down like 90%, and we still would have made our money back to a certain extent. But with data decay expiring today and stuff, it just wouldn't have worked out as well as tomorrow's contracts. So yeah, I'm super happy we picked that expiration date, and these went super deep in the money, and I made a bag just off of 4. So Andy called KHC before it closed yesterday, and that boomed. That basically hit 100%. So Nike today over 50%. IWM runners went over 100%, and KHC hit 100%. So overall, from me, I didn't lose this week. And I hope you guys enjoyed another successful week. My options account is at the highest it's been all year. I'm on a roll, and yeah, it's crazy. These weeks be flying by, and I feel like I say the same thing every time, but we're doing really good. So let's keep up the good work. Um, and yeah, that's about it. So I swung in video calls. Um, other than that, I'll see what's popping tomorrow and see if I can find us another trade. But that's about it. I also shorted IWM because if you go look at the banks, if you go look at like JP Morgan, in 2 days, JP Morgan went up like almost $20, and Goldman Sachs went up like $25. And you know, when the banks go down, IWM goes down too. So it was overbought, and I was targeting the banks as well. So there were a few reasons why I got into that trade, but it worked out great. I was super happy. So, and you know, just to touch on the whole runners thing. So SMH runners, like leave runners on my plays, especially when I tell you. So like SMH runners, they opened at 200% and went to 600%. IWM was only like 30% at open. If you held runners, they hit over 150%. So when my plays hold, and whenever I tell you to leave runners, if I never give you like a stop loss for them, just put your stop loss at break even. Like simple. If it comes back to break even, sell. If you want to put it at minus 10%, minus 15%, that's fine. But other than that, for the most part, I'm looking at big time frames. And when I say that, I mean if something is breaking down on the daily, it's most likely going to drop throughout the week. So if you see Amazon, I posted an Amazon play too on the watch list. I forgot to mention that. I posted that in the watch list. Amazon was testing a weekly breakdown. Amazon broke down and plummeted that day. It dropped like $3 in a straight line. That was 100% in 10 minutes. And Amazon wound up dropping the rest of the week. But it triggered early in the week, but it created a downtrend. So um, just like Pepsi, the consumer staple stocks go up when like technology is bearish. So if you go look at a chart of Pepsi right now, Pepsi reversed the day I called those puts, and that was the bottom, and it kept running. That's a breakout. So you swing calls on Pepsi the next few days, and it just flies, you know? So yeah, breakouts, breakdowns, those are the plays I look for. Contracts be going 100% super fast. And yeah, so like I said, another successful week for me. I banked on a bunch of different plays. That's about it. And some of you guys are server muted, so if you ever see a red microphone and you do want to say something in the chat, just write me and tell me to unmute you, and I'll unmute you. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments about any of the plays that I called this week, feel free to unmute yourself. Let's chop it up and talk.
Uh, I don't have a question, but I would like to maybe make a request.
What's up?
Uh, if you can post the number of contracts you're getting, sometimes I get, like you say, I got a few contracts, I get a few contracts. Then you say trim here. Then you say trim again. Sometimes I'm out of contracts, and then I see the contracts going over 200%, 300%, and I'm already out. And sometimes if I try to jump in, then in reverse, it's a bad idea. So I try not to do that again. So if I have an idea on how many contracts you are gauging, I think that would help
Yeah,
catching those big moves.
yeah, I'll try my best. I mean, if I post a regular play, if I just like SMH, if I just post SMH, let me put it like this. If I say I'm going light, I'm going light. So you go light too. If I just post a play and I don't say light or anything like that, just put your regular position size. Cause what if I buy 100 contracts on something?
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody else is gonna buy 100 except for maybe one other person. So like if I say I'm buying 10 contracts at SMH, that's gonna be $6,000. So that's why I try my best to just teach you guys how I trade and the amount of money that I use for trade so you can transfer that into your own strategy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah, yeah.
I'll put it to you like this. If I say I'm going light, I'm probably grabbing 2 to 3 contracts. If I don't say anything, I'm probably putting like anywhere from 500 to 1,000 on the trade or 1,500. So just, you know, I don't think I'm gonna put how many contracts every time because not everybody's gonna buy the same amount. But with that being said, I'll put it to you like this. If I say trim and leave runners, just say you got 3, sell 2 and leave 1. If you got 6, sell 4 and leave 2. If you got 10, sell 7, leave 3. So I can teach you how to manage them and how I manage them, and you can transfer that into how many contracts that you have. You follow me? And I always like to touch on my success rate. So if I'm calling 10 plays and 9 of them hit every week, you put as many contracts as you want. If
Mm-hmm.
if if I'm winning nonstop, you buy how many you want. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would do if I was you. But like I said, yeah, I say when I'm going light and not whatnot. But yeah, thanks for the request. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
hmm But yeah, that's why I touched on those runners because, like I said, they be flying. So always, if I say leave runners, always leave runners. You know what I'm saying? Because you might exit all of them, and at least try to leave 1 or 2. So. Anybody else have any other requests or concerns?
I also saw that some people, you said new people were saying that they didn't see any calls. This Discord is very different from the ones I was before. So if anybody's new, they would definitely have to either get through all of those new member uh, chats so that they can read through it, and they need to look a lot into the watch list. The watch list basically means that you have to watch for yourself, like the levels that you post in other discords. For example, when I was before I joined this one, they would give you the exact and the point of that you have to enter, the exact time that you have to enter. So when you post the screenshots, I believe they waiting for you to say, okay, get in now. That's what I was doing when I first joined. And
Mm-hmm.
then after we had a one-on-one, I understood that, okay, this is also a signal. So set your alarms, and once it triggers, you jump on it.
Exactly, and I love that you touch on that because I do things a little bit different, but um, I like the way I do it because that's why I tell people just keep alerts on. I give like 6 to 10 direct signals every week, and sometimes I'll just post something in the watch list, and that's why I tell new members like don't get frustrated the first day you're in here. Just sit back and relax and watch let me work and watch how I work and you'll get it within a week. Like people are paying for a month, so you can't get frustrated after a day. You know what I'm saying? Like people are like they're itching and itching and itching. Just sit back if you're new, watch how I work, and you'll see how it works. It's really not too much. Options King, straight direct signals. Watch list, I'll post something in the watch list, and after 1 or 2 weeks, you'll say, oh my God, when he posts on the watch list, it happens. So when I tell you Amazon puts on a weekly breakdown, you buy them and you make money, right? Um, that's how the watch list works by QQQ, as you guys know. I post the ETF levels. Sometimes I just post the levels. Sometimes I give you commentary throughout the day and let you know if we're bullish or bearish. Lottos, that's where Rogue and Andy like to post their plays, and that's where I post some of my lottos as well. But other than that, there's really only 4 channels with like content, so it's not too hard to decipher, what's what. Like I said, if you just want like direct signals, you'll look in Options King. If you like the ETF levels, you'll be looking in there. If you see me post something on the watch list and it's about to get to that level, you trust my watch list plays, you take it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I do things a little bit different, but that's how I have it set up. And I think after like a week of somebody being in here and paying attention, they'll get a pretty good hang of it. So but I had somebody join and they were DMing me the next day like, "What plays are you calling today?" Like, you don't ever have to ask me if I'm gonna call plays because I show up every day. So. So Oracle, I posted in the watch list today. It's back down to 4 weeks of support, and it has a gap to fill. So, whenever you see Oracle break below 137, you can get in. And another thing about the watch list, like if you're not comfortable trading by yourself, just don't do it. It's kind of for people that are comfortable knowing what they're doing, and it's just I'm just pushing extra content out there. I might not be able to see it exactly when it happens, but if you know how to trade, like a lot of you guys learned how to trade from me. So if you see Amazon breaking down and it's below the 9, and I say it puts below here, you're gonna get in. So yeah. And if you just want to take my direct signals, that's an Options King. Direct signals this week: SMH puts smack, Nike calls smack. So, Meta, like my all my direct signals paid this week. So if that's more of your cup of tea, you watch that channel.
Hey, okay. And I wanted to know what was your thoughts on do you ever trade waste management? I've been watching them for about a year, and they seem to be up on the uptrend like always. And I just so happened to check with them this Monday, just out of curiosity, and then I saw they was breaking out on the weekly, and I ain't never get a chance to talk to you about that, but I wanted to know what was your opinion.
You asked me about it, right?
Yeah, in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah, so you asked me about it, and I told you it was bullish, and it was breaking out. It broke out at 215, and it's at 225 now. So it ran like $10 this week. It's bullish. It's at all time highs. It went up
It,
for 4 days.
yeah, it went out right when you said it too. I didn't get in. I just because I was hesitating. I was a little
Mm-hmm.
hesitant because I just so happened to look in it, and it did look like it was going to break out, but I didn't want to chance it. You know what I mean? I wanted to basically get your advice on that first.
Super, super bullish. I mean, like I said, we talked about it earlier this week, and I'm looking at the chart, and it ripped for 4 days, and it's at all-time highs. So, as you guys know, all-time high breakouts are bullish. So if you went with calls any day, swinging, day trading, you would have made money. You just gotta. If you guys ever ask me a question about something, you guys know I'm very responsive, and I tell you something, you should probably just go with it. So waste management is an example. Somebody asked me about, and it ran, and I gave you confirmation. Somebody asked me about Pfizer the other day. Pfizer ran the next few days. Um, so don't second guess something, especially when I'm backing up your thesis. Like, I'm here to help, not just with my plays, but if you guys want help on your own plays. So, don't hesitate, get in. Like, I used to hesitate on stuff, but now I just see it and I take it. I don't really think about stuff, and not thinking has me being successful. I do my work, and if I see it, I get in. So, you know,
No, it's
always,
just it's
always.
just further proof that I'm learning something from your strategies, because before I probably would have never even zoomed out to look at the weekly on it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So when I first saw that, I was like, wow, that thing looked like it's about to break out. It's coming up to a point,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just like, you know what? Let me check with him. So it just shows that I'm learning, based off what we've been doing, and wins, and not just the wins, the L's we've been taking too, as little as they are, but you know what I mean.
Facts. You learn from everything, and just to go over the waste management chart, it's been testing the same high for 4 months, right? And then like the past 3 weeks, it couldn't break a certain level. And we all know if something's testing a level, and it's still holding, you got to watch for the breakout. So you had a really good eye on that. Waste management is a defensive stock. As when I say that, I mean it's very safe, and it doesn't get affected by the presidency. It doesn't get affected by anything. It's the garbage company. So that's why it's at all-time highs, if anybody's wondering. Waste management, that's the garbage truck. So the trash is at all-time highs. And that was a good guy. And if you guys are ever skeptical about something, you could just go light, you know? A lot of times if you just go light, throw 150, 200 at something, probably going to make 100%. Waste management, I'm sure, was like 300%. Pfizer, cons have been hitting like 70% at open the past few days. So, yeah. If we're ever slow in the chat or whatever, and you want to ask me something about a play, feel free to reach out. I'll give you my analysis. So like today, Trippy Hippie asked me about snow, and I reaffirmed with him that snow was bearish. It looked good for puts, and you know, I think Andy got in and wound up making like 100% on it. So we like to work together over here. Teamwork makes the dream work. I ain't gonna lie, like the gap up this morning, not really on IWM because IWM didn't gap up, but the Qs, like every day this year when we have a big red day, we're green every day the next day. So I thought about swing calls, but I passed on it. But it would have worked out. Obviously, you needed to sell, and I would have sold because I trade short dated ETF options. But that reversal down was nasty. So there's still some selling pressure. We could hit a little bit of a correction. Um, IWM went up 10%. So whenever we drop 10%, that's usually a good buying opportunity. And whenever something goes up 10%, it's usually a good opportunity to short. So um, somebody asked me if they should buy QQQ shares on the drop last week. And I said, no, wait, it usually comes down to the weekly 9. So when it comes to buying the dip on something and looks like it's about to create a downtrend, you probably don't want to rush it, you know. If you missed out on QQQ, you don't want to buy it on the first $7 drop. It's going to go lower. So, the Qs can come down to like 475, 473. That's really strong support. I'd be surprised if that broke, but we have earnings season coming up. So, anything is possible. But 473, 475, 473, there's a gap to fill down to 467. So we could definitely pull back, but I would love that so everybody can buy some cheap shares. And like Costco is another great example. Somebody wrote, I don't know if they wrote me directly, but they wrote about Costco today. I looked at my chart really fast. I'll post a picture of it. And Costco wound up dropping like 10 to 15 bucks after that. And that's just a play in the chat. Like, I don't gossip in the chat. I'm just talking about money. So, I say this often. If you're ever bored or whatever, hop in the chat. If I'm not calling any plays, see what we're talking about. I bet you'll find something that'll go 50% in minutes. So I'm going to post a picture of Costco. This is a perfect setup. All you needed, you don't need any indicators, no RSI, MACD, nothing. So as you see, 840 is key support on Costco since May, right? It bounces off of that level every time. But it created a head and shoulders pattern. The head is at 900 in the middle of your screen. The left shoulder is like, the end of May. And then this is the right shoulder right now. So if Costco does break 840, which it hasn't broke in 2 months, you're going to buy puts because it's breaking support and it has a head and shoulders pattern. So Costco broke that level today and it just dropped like a rock. That's a play. That's a banger day trade. You can't think about it too much. And if you would have got in, you would have made a lot of money. So I love these type of setups, explosive moves. Like Cat had an explosive move this week. I like to trade Cat, but I missed that. But if I was watching Cat and called Cat, it would have did exactly what I wanted it to do, and we would have made like 500%. Like go look at Cat. Cat had a weekly breakout, daily breakouts. Like sometimes you guys will send me a chart or something that's moving up and down $5 the past 2 months. I'm not. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna trade that. I only trade basically like stocks that have big ranges because a stock with a big range will enable our contracts to make a lot. So I know Exhale, she's in the chat. She's been in IWM calls for a lot of this rip. IWM broke out on the weekly chart and it kept going. Explosive moves. We want big moves. Amazon, weekly breakdown, big move. Microsoft, big move, weekly breakdown. So that's the type of stuff I look for. It brings a lot of profits really fast, you know. Nobody. Meta launched today. AMD is so bad. AMD went to 155, 185, and straight back down to 155. So bad. I don't have any confirmation, but I was just reading people talk on Twitter, and there might be businesses not liking the new AMD chips or some shit like that. I think that's why it might be dropping like a rock. So we'll see if the report winds up coming out that they're not having success with their chips because, you know, their direct competitors basically NVIDIA and everybody's buying from NVIDIA. So if AMD is releasing a new product that's supposed to give the company growth in the future and it's not working out, the stock is going to drop. So I'm not saying that report is going to come out, but if it does, I'll post it and be like, yep, this was it. But the stock is not acting good. Like it had a beautiful breakout and it went right back down. That's very bearish. So AMD put's been going crazy. Let's look at their chart. So, you know, beginning of the week, you want to look at weekly charts. So AMD, it triggered down on the week and it never looked back. So that's not really a shooter last week, but you can see last week it popped and it closed like in the middle. So it kind of hit a resistance level 2. And then once it triggered 173, it dropped $20. So that's a weekly breakdown. And that basically lets you know like, hey, this week the trend is starting to change. I want to start looking for puts. So if you started looking for AMD puts every day this week, you would have been looking for the right type of contract and you would have made money. So always go with the stock. Pepsi is breaking out. It goes up every day. AMD broke down on the weekly. It drops every day. Always go with the trend. Don't fight it. So like somebody got in cat puts yesterday. You know, they wrote me in the questions. And I was like, yeah, hit resistance is something to watch. But cat is on an uptrend. And it's above the 9. So if you're shorting something that's on an uptrend above the 9, your the statistics are not in your favor as if you were taking a breakdown or a breakout. You're trying to time the top. So cat wind up ripping again today because it's bullish, right? So that's just an example of trying to time the top on something that's breaking out. Statistic wise, probability wise, your win rate is going to be way lower versus actually taking something in the direction it's going. Now, Cat wound up pulling back really high off the highs today, and if you go look at the daily chart, it has a nice daily level for puts. But if you swung puts on that last rip, trying to time the top, it ripped again today. So, you know, that's just an example of not fighting the trend. You know. If you love in the chat, don't forget to invite your friends. Let's turn into some market makers. I need some more people to load the boat with me. For whatever reason, if you're not getting in my plays, don't take lotto plays. Like, just take my plays. Like, I say this often. N- I know it's okay to communicate and say you got clapped on something if you got clapped. That's fine. But if you took my plays all the beginning of the week and you lost on one lotto play, you should still be up for the week. So you shouldn't have to state that you got clapped on a lotto because you sized small and you lost a little bit. So, you know, like I said, don't take the lotto plays. if you're not successful with regular plays. Me, I hardly call lottos, and I don't lotto anything. Everything is a real play to me. I only post in lottos on Thursdays because obviously we have one day to be right, so it's risky. But please just follow my plays and you'll be successful. I say this week after week after week after week, and I continue to show it. Like, I was thinking about it. I gotta have a lot of confidence to tell a bunch of people, just please follow me, and if I'm wrong, you can bitch at me. Like, that's how much confidence I have, and I show you guys. So, just stick with me, build your account up, and then if you want to have a little fun, have a little fun. But I'd take this really serious, and I only trade stuff based off the charts. So, um, you know, so just follow me as best as you can, and you should be successful because I take all my plays, and like I said, my account this year is all the way at the tippity top. So I want you guys to try to follow me as far as progress is concerned.
Yeah, sometimes I do take the lotto plays, and those are the ones because I like swing trades more than anything else. Not to say that the chances are better over there, but that's just a personal preference. I like swing trades to wake up, you know what I'm saying, to have some money just when the market open, you know what I mean?
I love
But
swing trading.
mhm. But I'll try to look more at your watch list and at your option king trades and pay more attention to those.
Oh, definitely. That should be everyone's focal point. Like the lottos are. I don't think it's not like Andy is like literally lottoing and not looking at a chart, but I guess they don't want their own channel or whatever. They just post in there. So not don't think like, oh, these are just all risky plays. They're just guessing. That's just kind of their channel where they post. But as far as new like people that have been in here for a while, they know everything. They know what's up. They'll take whatever they want. But for newer people that have joined within a month, just follow me. Don't follow nobody else. You take my plays. And once you get comfortable with the server and you get comfortable with Rogue and get comfortable with Andy, then you can take their plays. But newer people just follow me because it's my Discord and I want to be I'm not responsible for your wins or losses, but everything's on my shoulders. I want to bear the responsibility for your wins and losses. I don't want it to be other people's issues. So, you know, um, just follow me for now. Um, yeah, been on a crazy streak right now, going crazy. My win rate was like at 80% the beginning of this year. I'm pushing like 90%, if not more. This shit is crazy. I'm loving this. So day trades are hitting, swing trades are hitting. Man, Riot and Mara, oh my God, they went stupid on Monday. That shit was crazy. Like, you want to try to get a piece of that. Like, those were some plays, crazy plays. And that micro strategy stock split, like, that's that when I was mentioning like all I do is talk about money in the chat. If I'm talking about something, you can take it. So like micro strategy, I'm spamming that they have a stock split. We know that's bullish, and then I was giving out strikes that I would take. Right? They were $2,000 a contract, but if you're in this chat, I teach you about out the money contracts, and that MicroStrategy, if it rips 100, the contracts 300 strikes up are gonna make money. So MicroStrategy closed at like 1480 on Friday, and H Tech bought a 1700, I believe, or 1600 for like what, $700 or something, and made thousands. And that was a banger play. Just me, just talking in the chat, hanging out, like. So, you know, I'm pushing content everywhere. I'm talking about money in the chat. I'm posting plays, posting stuff, QQQ levels. Like, there's just so many plays, big plays everywhere. So, you know, eye out. And if you miss one thing, there's always something else. Somebody misses out on something, I say, I'll find something else, and I'll find something else. So, never think you missed out. But that was crazy. Like those micro strategy contracts, like went went stupid, stupid, stupid. Almost forgot about that. That's another one on the list of a winner this week. Like there's so many. And I'm not mad at SMH, but obviously like the individual stocks made more percentage. So like AMD was down. The puts on AMD that day we had SMH were like 1,500%. Like oof. Shit's crazy. Like TSM never drops 10, 15 bucks. I believe that was the worst day ever for SMH. That was wild. Crowd strike triggered and tanked. Eli Lilly got clapped today. Let me look at UNH. I was looking at it before it closed. Um, keep an eye on UNH. I mean, it's gonna come back down. Um, it's gonna come back down for sure within the next week. So your daily level kind of has a gravestone doji today. Your put level, your bearish level is like 561, 560. So you could watch that for a play tomorrow if you want to mark your chart. You know, UNH either shoots up in the morning or shoots down. So if it winds up breaking down and it's below 560, it's most likely gonna push into the 550s, and you could buy a cheap put and make a bag real quick. So if you want to mark that for tomorrow / next week, UNH puts. Um, the 4 hour looks really good too, below like 561. Could come down to 555, 555. So I was gonna swing trade it, but I didn't feel comfortable. So and I was gonna swing the 555 puts. So um, they're 80 cents right now. They're pretty cheap. You can keep that on your radar for tomorrow. Cat. Um, I touched on Cat earlier, but Cat the past 2 days it held 356. But if it breaks 356, it could make a nice downside trigger. So if you want to watch Cat below 356, it also had a gravestone doji today. So a bunch of sellers came in on that name. Could see a nice move down on that. Somebody was talking about gold puts. If gold tanks tomorrow, I don't like to do woulda, shoulda, couldas, but you know, I was looking at the gold put. Tomorrow's the 19th, right? Yeah, expiring tomorrow. The 225 put has 8,000 open interest. That looks so interesting, but I just don't trade gold often. But gold is down $2 after hours right now, so I don't know if she's online right now, but that's so right now gold puts are gonna smack tomorrow, and with gold you have like next day expiration, so it's so easy to hit like 500% on gold options. I'm gonna be mad that gap's down. But Can't catch them all. And I'll give you another example. So I was talking to somebody about Tesla yesterday, and I almost called puts, and I'm obviously glad I didn't. Although we could have averaged down because it dropped off the highs, but if you go look at Tesla, Tesla is on an overall uptrend. Remember, if something is above the 9 on the daily and weekly, it's gonna be hard to short it because it's gonna chop up and down. So Tesla looked kind of bearish yesterday. It basically had a shooter. It could have dropped, but overall, Tesla's bullish. So you swing puts on it, you target that stock, and it winds up gapping up. And it was one of the stronger names today. But like I said, it did drop down off the highs. So, you could have averaged down and put yourself green. But, just to compare it to Cat, how somebody tried to buy puts on Cat, but Cat's on an overall uptrend. So you could try to time it, but your win rate, the statistics probability are gonna be way lower than something that's actually breaking out or breaking down. So, you know, just be careful getting in plays if it's still up in the air or above the 9. Believe me, when I do stuff like that, it doesn't work. Last week on Thursday, I called puts on Roblox. It had a shooter, but it was still above the 9 on the daily chart. What happened? Roblox ripped on Friday. So, I try my best to stick with my strategy. Whenever I go against my strategy, I usually lose. And, I just gave you an example of Roblox right there. So you want to incorporate the 9 and other things with the candles, because just because something has a shooter doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go down. That's just one thing that we want to factor into the whole scenario to help us make an educated, decision. So shooters on the downtrend are really, really good. Feel free to unmute yourself and chop it up if you want to talk about anything. Best time to get stuff cleared up.
You see Team USA cooking them?
Oh, they're playing right now?
No, the game was earlier, but
Men's basketball team?
yeah, they look like an all-star team just having fun.
They didn't play today. Who'd they play?
What was it? Where's Jokic from?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Oh,
Serbia.
was that yesterday's?
Yeah,
Yeah, them
they
boys.
they cooked them, going for that gold medal. I seen he made a bag off of SMH.
Yeah, like my port's up like 150% this week. It's been
Nice.
a great week.
Yes, sir. I wish I went heavier, man. I mean, it's all good. If I had more on my account at the time, I would have bought more than I did. But uh, that's
I
the
had
type of player.
I had one, and then when it pulled back and I was down a little bit, I was like right before close, I was like, nah, I like this price. Grab one more.
You see, the thing is, I definitely would have bought more, but I didn't have any buying power. Fool, they probably went. I think the puts went to like 1.5, 1.6.
Yeah, yeah,
Could
yeah.
have easily bought like 3 or 4 more, and I would have been super happy. Super happy. That would have been fire. We should make some nice moves tomorrow. Hopefully, we can find a good day trade.
What made you call the swing on Nvidia for tomorrow? The calls. What did you
I'll,
like? What was your thought process on that?
I'll post the chart. So obviously, Nvidia did make a big drop the past few days, and it is kind of on a downtrend. But I'll give you my thesis. I'm swinging calls on it. So first of all, I liked how Nvidia was green today on a red day. That's one thing I liked. A second thing I liked is they dropped it down to this 116 level, which is kind of like a previous support. And there was like a gap to fill there. So it went down to where it was supposed to go down to. Then it held 116 yesterday, and then it held 116 today. So like you don't buy puts on a setup like that. If it winds up dropping, it drops. It shouldn't. But you have a hammer at demand and 2 days of holding a level. So that's why I'm swinging calls on Nvidia. And there was a bunch of bullish flow on Nvidia today too. So that's another reason why I'm swinging calls. And there's a ton of open interest. The calls I'm in the 121s. There's 120,000 120s. There's 53,000 121s. So yeah, that's why I'm in Nvidia. Nvidia should open green tomorrow. It should open green. It's one of those stocks where when it drops after a few days, you want to be careful buying puts after it makes the move because it kind of it likes to pop back up after a few days of dropping. So that's what I'm banking on. I went light. I got 2 contracts. If I'm wrong, I might lose 150. If I'm right, I can make 400, 500. So I like that play. Let's see what Amazon did. Amazon's been getting clapped. So remember we were talking about the Jeff Bezos wall at 200 last week? It couldn't get above 200. Jeff Bezos kept selling. So I saw the weakness last week. So what am I going to do this week? I'm going to target it for puts. And it dropped. So this is the chart I posted in the watch list the other day. The trigger was 192. Amazon hit 181 today. That's a $10 drop. And we saw this in the beginning of the week. And that's why you want to continue to follow the trend because Amazon put's been smacking. So, it held 192 for 2 weeks. Strong resistance at 200. We see it can't break out. So when it comes down to the previous week's low, we're going to short and make money. And it tanks. So that was a nice play. IWM $8 drop from the top. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I was writing in the chat. I was trying to find it, but it was either on voice or in the chat, and I was like, we cannot miss the drop on it because it's gonna drop after a big move. It's just inevitable. Like you can't miss it. It's just what I call easy money. Like you want to make trading is hard, and you want to make it as easy as possible, and that's just talk about probability and statistics being high of winning. Like puts at the top. Like it's just guaranteed money. I want to get in trades that are super high probability. Oh, another reason why I kind of got into Nvidia is if you go take a look at AVGO, go look what it did at the end of the day. A report came out that OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, they're going to AVGO to design some new AI chips. So Nvidia started perking up when that news came out, and AVGO ripped like $5. So kind of like I'm just kind of hopping in like the sentiment change and the chart type of thing. So AVGO flew. If you bought contracts when that news came out, it made a really big pop. That was 156 to 161, $5 on AVGO. End of day on a Thursday. Well, if nobody has anything else for me, I'm gonna hop off. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask now. You got anything to say, Andy? Say less. We can end it with that. Hope y'all had a blessed week. Have a good night. I'll see y'all tomorrow.